Hi there, and welcome to the epic finale, the big finish of Hard Vendetta. So let's start immediately.
Good evening once again. Dick Thornburg here, reporting to you live from the Holmes Observatory high in the Hollywood Hills. We're at the post party for tonight's premiere of Galaxy Thief 3. Greg Castle and his family have just arrived, looking relaxed and happy with the film's positive reception. Yes, folks, the Hollywood A-list has come out on this beautiful, starry night here in Los Angeles. Frankly, if you're not here, you're nobody. So stick with us and we'll be right back with Greg Castle himself in just a minute on HEN.
What's Frontier doing
Greg,
here?
Can I call you Greg?
Sure.
What can you tell us about Galaxy Thief 3?
You're going to love it. Lots of battles, lots of aliens, lots of comedy, even a little romance. This film is going to redefine the comedy space mercenary
And if we could
genre.
just talk about you. What was that? No.
And the game doesn't pull any punches, it throws you immediately into the action. Now, to get through this part, I'd recommend you take the path I am here. Like, as soon as you start out, go to the left, take out those two guys, and sort of take out the rest from behind, like I'm doing now. Now, the biggest obstacle that you have to look out for is the landmines on the ground, these sort of black discs. And when playing this, I found that they were actually the bigger threat, because while trying to avoid all the gunfire, I would accidentally step on them. Now you can see here I just picked up the rocket launcher, and yeah, you need that to take out the helicopter and the two automated rocket launchers on the roof. And some more advice, stay close to the building at the back, and the helicopter and the missile launchers will have less chance of hitting you. Now, the rocket launchers on the roofs, they can be quite a big threat, because obviously it only takes one rocket to kill you. But they do move rather slowly, so I would advise you just to be careful, and wait for them to shoot a rocket at you, and then shoot back while they're reloading or whatever. And I must say, it is satisfying to take down a helicopter, especially after one taunted you in one of the earlier levels. Now, actually go back here to collect some more ammo, but also pick up the second rocket launcher. And I would advise you to do that, because I actually used the rocket launcher later on in the level to get past the rather tricky part. And yeah, there are two rocket launchers in total, so they give you like 8 chances to take down the helicopter. Yeah, and so this level, like, I'll admit it does feel like a last level. They throw you straight in this hectic situation. And they also start you off with a rifle, which is one of the most powerful weapons in the game. So, yeah, it's a far cry from the earlier levels where they start you off with a puny little 6-shooter. And the fact that we have this weapon is appreciated, because like you've seen in the earlier parts, this can pretty much take out enemies with a couple of bullets. It's very fast and very efficient. And as you come around the corner, I would suggest you just peek round the corner and just get the surprise on one of these guys here. And you may have noticed the now destroyed rocket launcher on the roof here. And of course, if you didn't blow them up on the ground, they will be active now and still shooting at you at this point. So it was worth taking them out earlier. Oh, and of course you need to pick up this item, the circuit breaker, to continue. So be sure you do that. Now this location, this observatory, is actually based off a real place. Although it is actually called the Griffin Observatory. Not sure why they decided to change the name. Probably something to do with copyright or something. And so we ended up with the Holmes Observatory, which I think was probably foreshadowed in the previous part, when the character of Nitric kept calling you Holmes. So, I'll give the writers credit for setting up a plot point. Now, to get through this difficult level, I do take advantage of the enemy AI a bit. For example, you see here I shot one person, and I just wait for the other person to come around the corner and shoot him there. And that's something I do in this level to sort of help me get by. Now this next section here can be a bit tricky, but I have figured out a sort of a clever way to get past it. And it does involve taking advantage of the enemy AI. So first of all, you go into stealth mode and you just take a peek over the ledge. And yes, there are these there is a group of mercenaries you have to take out here. And I say this part can be tricky, because as soon as you fire one of your shots, they all know where you are, and they all aim straight at you. So here's my tactic. I peek over one ledge, take a shot at the enemy, and then quickly duck down, and then I go into stealth mode again and sneak around to the other side of the building. And in case you're wondering, I have sped up the footage of me sneaking back and forth, just because it was a bit repetitive and a bit bland, if I'm honest. And you can see now, as I peek around this ledge, the enemies are facing where I just shot. So again, you could argue that's poor enemy AI, like they only focus on where they last saw you. But yeah, I use it to my advantage. And I guess you could call this the peekaboo technique, because I just pop in and out and shoot. Although I would prefer to call it the predator technique, because it's more badass that way. Because I'm not the predator, I'm popping in and out, they can't see me, and I'm picking them off one by one like a badass. Now something else I'll point out is the fact that I have auto aim turned off. And if you struggle with this level, turn it on, really. You know, they put it in the game for a reason, but I'm kind of proud of myself that I managed to complete this game without the auto aim. I mean, granted, it's still on normal difficulty. If I was really hardcore, I would complete this game with no auto aim on the hard mode, but whatever. I'm pleased to have just have completed it like this. So yeah, no hard mode for me. Thank you very much. And for this next section here, you would just simply jump down the roofs. And although I would say be careful, because fall damage can really hurt you here. So just take each step at a time. Go down these roofs in this order, and you shouldn't like hurt yourself or anything. And yeah, the whole design of this level seems to be very action orientated. Like, there are no points where you have to use stealth, but I found stealth mode very useful for getting the first shot at an enemy.
What happened? Frontier's men have overrun the place. They've wired up the building with explosives. Looks like he intends to kill everyone inside.
How much explosives?
They said
I like how this guy has a mullet. And this game was made in the 2000s, so yeah, mate, the 80s called, they want their style back, bottom-tish.
Thanks. Say, do you guys carry police radios?
Yeah, take it.
Oh, he's dying now.
I'm going.
Awkward.
Al, it's John.
Yeah, but seriously, that's kind of a sad moment when you try and save someone and you can't. So
Turned up with his army.
don't worry, my mullet-headed friend, you will be avenged.
Whoa.
Okay, just sit tight. We're on our way.
No time, Al. They're fortifying their positions. It could be all over by the time you get here. I've got to try to get into that building.
Hey, now you just sit tight and wait for that.
And so it seems the story takes a more die-hard-like approach. We have this building full of civilians, bombs, terrorists holding us at gunpoint, and it's just John McClane by himself being a badass. So I give the developers credit. They've definitely gone for the die-hard feel. Now, to talk about the story for a moment, and the fact that Gruber gets usurped by Frontier, I actually do like that approach, and it was sort of foreshadowed, because whenever you saw Frontier in the previous part of the story, he's the one that seemed to be more in charge, or at least more competent. After all, he's the professional mercenary. And I do wonder if the writers were having a little fun with the whole action genre, because Obviously Frontier was a fallen action star, and now he's coming back for his revenge. I can't help but wonder that might have been like a little clever nod to Bruce Willis and the action genre itself. That, and if you remember Frontier's backstory from the previous parts, there are quite a few parallels with Arnold Schwarzenegger, so yeah, they were definitely going for like a mock action feel. And of course you do want to shoot at these C4 mines, because if you go past them they will be set off and explode, obviously. Now to talk about the location of this final level again, I do actually like the fact that they used an LA landmark. And in an earlier level you might have remembered they used the famous Chinese theatre for a stage, so I do like that they use famous LA locations. It sort of taps into the player's desire to see these places in real life. That, and if you want to do something epic, you want to do it in an epic location or somewhere famous. It's just something I appreciate. And something I do like about the design of the level is that they chose to set it at sunset rather than all day or all night. I mean, obviously it's meant to take place at a premiere, but I just love the choice of sunset because it makes the sky red, and that's always like a nice dramatic effect. Oh, and as for these guys here, of course I just wait and let them come to me. Again, I take advantage of the enemy AI in the game. Now this rope puzzle is easy enough to sort out, and by the way, you can actually use this rope to climb down, so you could have come in the other way. Although when I tried that, I occasionally fell off the rope, because obviously you're not supposed to use it to go down, so you actually run the risk of dying by trying to sequence break that way, so yeah, it's best to come down the other way. And shortly we are about to see a game mechanic which hasn't been in the game before, except for one point, and you're about to see it. It's what I'm talking about is the actual like defusing of bombs. Oh, and of course when you enter this room, be sure to get the circuit breaker out ready. Now if you watched part 0 of my LP, which was essentially just the tutorial, you should already know how that works. You just click the buttons and it should defuse the bomb. Note, if you click the wrong button, the bomb goes off. It's kind of tricky, and I said before, they do show you how to do it in the tutorial, but if it's probably been a long time since you've done that, so that can surprise you, so be warned. Oh, by the way, this section here, just with the 2 analog sticks, you move the dome and the telescope to sort of make a path downwards. So that's pretty self-explanatory. And again, we reach another one of those points where the jumping mechanics are actually more of a threat than the guns themselves. And it's also interesting to note, you just saw in the background there the Hollywood sign. Fun fact about that, it's actually trademarked. I actually forget who, but yeah, if you want to use that sign in a movie or game or whatever, you actually have to pay them. So that you know that image isn't free. Yeah, you can see there you have to position the telescope so you don't hurt yourself when you come down. Now coming up is a checkpoint, but it's not that easy. They spring one more bomb on you. So we use our fancy iPod to defuse the situation. Yeah, what's strange is that these early bombs give you less time than the later ones. So defusing the bombs actually gets a little easier as the level goes on. And with a checkpoint reached, I'm given some comfort by the fact that if I do die, I just restart from there. Now you're about to see another tactic I find useful, and it's the duck and cover technique. And yeah, I take advantage of the doors. Just hide down below a door and pop up and shoot through the window. Now, something that happens in this level, which is kind of odd, is that sometimes enemies don't shoot. They do the shooting animation, but no bullets come out. And I'm not sure why. I think it's because I'm like out of their range. Or maybe they can't detect me if I'm right next to a door. Or maybe it's just the enemies in general. And yet, when completing this level, I did think, is this a bit cheap? Because I don't feel like I'm taking advantage of this glitch, because I'm not activating this glitch intentionally, but like I can't stop it from happening. It's like the enemies will either shoot me or they won't. It's kind of funny that. Now, to talk about the level theme again, I don't really think it was used that well, and I'll explain what I mean. Like, in the beginning of the level, we had to move the telescope to get down. And just in general, there aren't many instances where the fact that this is an observatory comes into play. Yet when you look at the previous levels, like the Hollywood studio or the Chinese theatre, they make use of the theme. Like in the studios there are movie sets, in the subway there are train traps you have to avoid, and in this level it could be set anywhere really, any building. Oh wait, tell a lie, these revolving planets do come into gameplay, because they tend to block bullets. Yeah, I'm not giving that credit, that still doesn't count. That's just a piece of scenery, really. It's not a level specific gimmick or anything. Now, an important thing to note about this room is that the enemies respawn each time you die and come back, which I guess makes it interesting, although it can make repeated playthroughs a bit frustrating. And I'll tell you this now, I died a lot on this level. Because, yeah, it's very heavy on the guns, very heavy on the enemies. Although it's the last level, so at least they give me a challenge. Oh, it's you.
I should have known you'd be in.
Oh god, yeah. Yeah, she's the actress that got us put in prison. So, thanks, bitch. Yeah, this part here, as you just saw, some mercenaries will just storm through the door. But I did find there is a useful trick where you can hide around the corner, and they'll actually come to you. So again, I'm abusing the enemy AI. Hooray for me! But of course, I prefer to think of it as a clever trick, rather than cheating per se. At the end of the day, I'm just taking advantage of the game's mechanics. Oh, and here's another tip I like to use, and that's to shoot people around the corner. And like, if you can't get a headshot, you can usually kill someone by shooting their arm repeatedly. So that's a clever trick again. And you'll see here another bomb. And you can see the timer, they gave us 17 seconds to defuse this one. So they do give us a lot more time, so that's something I appreciate. Especially because these later bombs are usually surrounded by enemies. And so you usually have to clear the area before you start playing around with the bomb. So, yeah. I do like the fact that they put that in the gameplay. They make a count for getting shot at, so good for them. Now this guy here has a very interesting weapon. He actually has a flamethrower, which is always a popular weapon. But I'm not actually going to use the flamethrower now. I do find a use for it later on in the level, but see, the thing about the flamethrower is the fact that if you use it in tight corridors, the flame that you shoot out can actually hurt you as well, which is why I'm hesitant to use it. But like I said, there is a part coming up, and I find the flamethrower very useful for that. And again, they gave us like 17 seconds to defuse this bomb. And something I noticed about the decoder which you might not be able to see in this YouTube video, is the fact that the buttons on the controller say A, B, X, Y. So essentially it's a GameCube. It was designed for the GameCube. Or Xbox, I suppose. Oh, that's right, yeah, they both the Xbox and the GameCube use A, B, X, Y system. So, well, either way, it does show you that this game probably wasn't intended for the PS2. I mean, it was, but they made it for another console and just ported it to the PS2. And again, this room has enemies which just shake their guns at you. Guys, here's a pro tip. Pull the trigger. Ugh, again, I do feel like I'm being a bit cheap, but hey, if the game fucks up and they won't shoot, I can't make them shoot. And as we traverse through the bowels of the observatory, we're confronted with one of the more trickier sections, and I say that this can be quite difficult, because as you can see, we're sort of trapped in this underground area, and there are enemies above us which shoot us through the grates, and that can be quite annoying because you can't really get a good sight of them. You can't aim at them really well. And also, like I said before, they do respawn in different places, so that can be quite random as well. But you can see here the tactic I use after these said repeated playthroughs. I have learned where they appear. I've learnt their locations, and you can see here I'm sort of trying to aim at this guy. So yeah, it just boiled down to learning the locations. Now, pro tip here, there is usually an enemy just above this sort of generator, the one on the right. And I say that because that one will probably give you the most trouble, because the one that usually spawns there will shoot you as you enter the room. So I'm just letting you know where he is. That way, if you ever have trouble with it, you probably know where he's going to be. And needless to say, try not to touch anything in this room because it's all electrified. Like, this section wasn't difficult enough. You're in a tight, cramped space, enemies shooting down, and there's lots of hazards everywhere. So, I'll give them credit. They did create a very difficult level piece here. It's very applicable for the final level. But as you leave the section, you're not quite finished, because there is always an enemy at this point, around this corner. So just do what I do here and sort of slowly creep around the corner and try and pick him off before he sees you. And again, to use a familiar tactic, if you can't shoot the guy in the head, try and get him in the arm. And of course, be sure to enter the room to the right here, because you have to go in and flick a switch. And as you can see, I use the familiar technique of shooting through the doorway, which has served me well in the past. And with the switch flicked, we can now re-enter that previously electrified door in the main hall. But not quite yet, there's still that last suitcase we have to sort out. Now, to talk about the final boss for a moment, there is actually a way I use to defeat him fairly easily. So I'll tell you this now because it's applicable. Whenever you save people, you get hero time. And whenever you activate this hero time, everything goes in like sort of bullet time. And everyone else moves in slow motion. And what you'll see by the end is that's it. That's what I do to defeat the final boss. Use my hero time and then shoot him in the face repeatedly. And I'm telling you this now because we're about to encounter a room full of hostages. And obviously you get hero time from saving them. And my point is, don't use it. There are some difficult shooty bits, and you might be tempted to use the hero time there. And just, yeah, don't. Save it for the final boss, trust me. And with the enemies taken out, we defuse the final bomb. And luckily they're really generous. They give us like 30 seconds to do this. But luckily my new iPhone has a defusing bomb app. Very handy.
Thank you. You saved my life.
Now coming up is, it's another moment of this level where they use the sort of observatory theme well. Because we have to shoot this planet and it rolls and opens the door for us. And by the way, stand on this side because that planet will actually kill you if it touches you. Yeah, but like I said, that's one of the few instances where they actually make use of the planetary theme. Or the observatory theme, I should say. Oh, and speaking of which, the rocket launcher here, that's why I wanted you to save it from the earlier half of the level. Because you're about to see, yeah, there were two enemies with two miniguns pointed at the door. And speaking of saving weapons, this is also another point where I saved the flamethrower. And you'll see why in a minute. Yeah, there's like a whole group of enemies. And you might think, shouldn't I use the minigun to take them out? But the thing is, if you get behind the minigun, you just end up being shot by the enemies. And the flamethrower, it's just a useful tool. It can it sends out a wide flame in the sort of short area around yourself. So yeah, that, you know, it was just perfect for that moment to take out that cluster of enemies. But anyway, with that, we're done for this half. The next part, we'll be finishing off the observatory and finishing off Hard Vendetta as we face down the bitter and rather threatening action hero Frontier. Okay, first things first. As you enter the room, you'll find that Castle, Frontier's replacement, is actually giving him lip. Yeah, not your wisest decision, mate. Don't threaten the guy with two miniguns or whatever. Now, what I found difficult about this boss was not actually the boss himself, but this first section with this group of mercenaries. But fortunately, I found a quite clever tactic, if I do say so myself. And that's just to take out the two guys on the balconies and then get the mercenaries as they come up the stairwell. And of course, goes without saying, don't shoot the guy in the suit, because that's Castle, the civilian. Oh dude, stop cowering. Some action hero you are. Come on, it's just a few mercenaries with a few assault rifles. Nothing to worry about. Unless you're me, of course. And yet, something you might notice is that I've only got 42 health. And so yeah, I'm facing the final boss with less than half health. But fortunately, like I said, if you kept the hero time, you can defeat him fairly easily. Which I guess it's kind of anticlimactic, but if you count the last level as really the last part of the game, not just the final boss, then it's sort of an adequate finish, because the last level is hard of itself. I'm just taking a quick look around to see if I can find any more medkits, but I don't think there is. So let's finish this. Let's show Frontier who the real action star is. Holy fuck! Yeah, and he has a minigun. Like I said, just activate hero time, and look, just it's so easy, really. You just inject the bullets into his face. Although I say easy, earning that hero time was fairly difficult. And you can see now I've only got 9 health, so it wasn't like an easy victory per se. I just did it by the skin of my teeth, really. Oh, an important note: shoot the doors to get through. Now we're about to get the final scene of the game, but after the credits I will give my thoughts on the game itself.
Nice work, cowboy. Another day, another building in ruins. Congratulations, John.
Thanks, Al. Where's Lucy? She all right?
I'm fine, Dad. Just fine.
Excuse me, are you John McClane?
Who's asking?
The John McClane? I'm Robert Barnes, head of development at Flyaway Pictures. I'd like to talk to you about movie rights. This is quite a story. Down-and-out cop saves the day with the help of his gun-toting daughter. Could make for a compelling movie.
Thanks, but no thanks. Now, if you don't mind...
Maybe you're not hearing me. I'm willing to pay you big bucks for
You
your
heard
story.
the man. Now get out of his
I'm
face.
talking bright lights, starlets, big money. Don't be a fool, McClane.
And as Old Joy plays the game out, I must say I really enjoyed this game. It's kind of like a fun action film type of a game with a cheesy story, really. It's got a nice mix of action and stealth. I like the weapons as well, and the whole mechanics of the game. The jumping, that was a bit awkward. Yeah, this game could have done with a little less platforming. It had interesting environments. It made good use of them. And overall, yeah, I really enjoyed this game. I mean, I guess by today's shooters, it's dated a bit, but yeah, it's pretty decent. I like it. And now, this won't actually be the last video in my LP, because there's a few more I have to do. For example, I want to make a video which shows off the cheats and the extras of the game. And this game also includes a making of documentary by the developers themselves, and they just explain, you know, what went into making the game, what thoughts did they have when they were developing it, and I'll just upload that up myself. Now, at the end of the credits, we are given this cheat, the level select cheat. Although there aren't any other levels left to unlock, so I guess you can use it if you want to start a new game. Now, to my embarrassment, I haven't actually tried this cheat out, but I guess you would just type in this combination on the main screen, because that's what you do with the other cheats. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this LP. I've got a few more bonus videos to do, and yeah, I'm going to carry on doing this LP thing. Not sure what games I want to do next, but yeah, I'll think about it. So thanks for watching, and I hope you'll tune in for more videos. Goodbye.